What's up all you Spider-Man animated loving dudes and dudettes, Toybiz here, and I got a really special retro shiz video for you today. We are totally going to be checking out Toys R Us box set 1998, the Spider and the Scarecrow, featuring the character that never appeared on the animated series, the Scarecrow. This actually derives from a somewhat obscure story where the Chameleon actually does team up with the Scarecrow at some point in the comic books. So, someone at Toybiz must have really liked that story. What? It's totally random, totally obscure. Spider-Man, Chameleon, Peter Parker, SpiderSense, Spider-Man, and the Marvel equivalent of the Scarecrow. The packaging is actually pretty wild. You got all the names below, you got all the characters in a window box. Of course, you got that special collector's edition they loved to put in back in the day. But I'll tell you what my favorite part is on the side right here is the original Toys R Us sticker for 25 bucks. The back side is honestly the best part, and a somewhat very interesting bio that sums up every single one of the characters for this particular box set. And then you have instructions right there on what each of the individual characters will do. Wait a minute, is that Miles Morales? I didn't have this in my collection. I have no nostalgia feeling for it. I'm back in 1998 opening up this for the first time. So let's go ahead, let's get it open. This is the Toys R Us Spider-Man the Animated Series 1998 box set, the Spider and the Scarecrow. And while I got all you Scarecrows here, I just want to say thanks so much for checking out my Retro Shiz vids every week. If you like them, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and let's leave a comment. Let's talk all things Spider and the Scarecrow. And here is the set out of the box. For someone that has collected this line for years and years, it's wild to me. I mean, I've known about this figure for quite some time, but I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's ever watched any of my Spider-Man the Animated Series Retro Shiz videos, because with all my YouTube monies from all the views that you provide, I went ahead and bought this. So I really wanted to take a look at it, and I really wanted it to be awesome, something new for both you and me to experience. So for that, thank you so very much for always watching. And I just spent about 25 minutes trying to fix one of these figures. Well, a good 24, almost 25 years later, no, it does not. This is going to be a lot of fun. So like always, let's start this off right. This is the, I guess you could say, animated Spider-Man. Kind of a mix between comic book and animated, but this Spider-Man is very dark. It has a black wash on him to bring out the sculpted spider webs. This is a totally new sculpt, as the original Spider-Man the Animated Series all had as fixed lines. This is all sculpted. He's incredibly muddled, more of like a nighttime Spider-Man. This box set is supposed to be more of a gothic, more of a dark themed, and this Spider-Man achieves that well. The spider on his back is actually fixed pretty nicely, but he has that very glossy look to him. However, where he actually does shine is the articulation. So his head rotates, he has it at the shoulders, he has it at the elbows, but now they're adding wrist rotation, which none of the Spider-Man the Animated Series figures had wrist rotation. They had foot up and down, but never in the wrists, and that's actually pretty awesome to see. He kicks out, had knees, and of course, like I said, he had that foot pivot. He's a little bit top heavy, but if you get him in just the right position, he will stay. A great figure to have in your collection, especially when this is what you had. So it's almost a derivative of this exact body type, but then they went ahead and added these sculpted lines. It is a completely different mold, of course. I would say the legs are actually different, but when you get down to the boots, those become the sculpted web lines. Just another really awesome Spider-Man to add to the animated series collection. And of course, going forward with this whole gothic, emo-ish motif for this box set, we have a Peter Parker figure. Now, of course, this is a Peter Parker figure that we originally got in Wave 2 of the Spider-Man the Animated Series. He even comes with his camera accessory. The head sculpt is the exact same. A black jacket, darker blue pants, and then black tennis shoes. much like this animated series brown coat Spider-Man, and then you also had the Ben Reilly. So he shares more with the Ben Reilly figure, minus the white tennis shoes, but he does have the green shirt. The articulation was in the head, at the shoulders, at the elbows, legs, and he had knees. Nothing new, nothing added, and of course the same exact camera accessory. Even after all these years, there's still yet another Peter Parker figure for the collection. Now, I know we have definitely seen this guy before. This is, of course, the Chameleon. So basically, for this being more of a comic book type box set, it does borrow heavily from the animated series. It is really interesting to see this Chameleon when you pair him up with the original release. The head is exactly the same, except now he has lighter blue eyeshadow, but his orange has been replaced with gold and a little bit darker red on the boots. The purple is a little bit different. It's a bit more matte on this guy as opposed to more glossy, a lot more diluted colors as opposed to the bright colors. And of course, that goes with the whole motif of the box set. Totally weird that the Chameleon is involved with this. Articulation was at the head, at the shoulders, at the elbows, kicked out, and he had knee articulation. Now, of course, in true Chameleon fashion, you could yank the head off, and he came with a Spider-Man head accessory. It would simply just fit over the peg, and I can't even tell between this Spider-Man or this Spider-Man anymore. And I know I've made that joke several times, but just go with it. Interesting repainted Chameleon. One I don't have, but it's always cool to see when there is a new figure for the shelf. Now, when I first started the video, I had mentioned that it took me about 25 minutes after opening this set to fix a figure. Well, lo and behold, it turned out to be the SpiderSense Spider-Man. This is a new body, technically, for the SpiderSense Spider-Man, but a body that we have actually seen before, whereas you would pull this out and it was on a retractable web line and it would basically recurl, and you could use it as a gimmick to have him kind of hoisting up, pull himself up, something that would allude to the fact that maybe it was a certain symbiote sort of deal. So I'll show you on the symbiote Spider-Man, but essentially you'd pull this out and then it would retract. And after all these years, I'm glad it still works, because this one did not. In fact, I pulled it all the way out just to see if it would retract. Did not. So we got 25 minutes to try and reconfigure it back into his chest, which was not fun. This is the original release SpiderSense Spider-Man. It differentiates greatly on the original release. He had green eyes. On this new release, he has red eyes. It actually resembles a little bit of the more modern day Miles Morales Spider-Man. They were a little bit ahead of their time. As far as the articulation goes, I kind of like this one better. This one had minimal articulation because of the gimmick, but much like the symbiote Spider-Man, same articulation in the arms. They were on a ball joint. You could see the pins right there, of course. Elbows kicked out, and he had knees. Some of these joints are very stiff. And then he had head rotation as well. Very cool to see all stacked up to each other. You do actually have a new figure, so to speak, in that it's a totally different type of SpiderSense Spider-Man, and that to me is wild. Which then finally brings us to the final figure of the box set, the one I have never added to my collection, the Scarecrow. The accessories that he comes with are totally wackadoo, but I absolutely love them. Let's take a look at the figure first. As far as I'm aware, I'm inclined to say that they actually produced a brand new sculpt for this particular character. I mean, he looks menacing. He looks scary. This is a great looking figure, and all the different stitching, the texture defects, the sculpting, the little nuances of paint. I mean, every little stitch is painted. I mean, they went to absolute town. They did a black wash, and it really just brings out the details. As far as articulation, he had it at the head, the shoulders, he had it at the elbows, nothing at the wrists, at the waist. He kicked forward, and this is actually kind of interesting. This is a little bit more of a softer goods right here, which kind of gave him a little bit more leeway, and it kind of rotated as well. It's a little bit loose from his waist, so it's very cool to see the beginnings of what would become the figures that we have today. He's got knee articulation, and actually the foot rotates. It doesn't go up and down, but it rotates, which makes me think that he has wrists, maybe? Let me see. Yes, he actually does have wrists. So there you go. This guy is well articulated, well sculpted. He came with this pitchfork type accessory. It looks like almost like a gun combined, like a cannon with a pitchfork. The back of the box describes exactly how to activate this thing. So basically, this is a missile that you would put right in. It has this little peg right here on the bottom. The Scarecrow would push it down on the ground and boom. It actually shoots out of the top. And then because it has a hook right here and he has a sculpted open hand, all you do is kind of just put it right there, stand with it, and bingo bango, you got a menacing looking Scarecrow figure. His other accessory is a lamppost, oddly enough, and it comes with 2 crows on it, which are his pet crows from the comics. They are basically man-eating, flesh-eating crows. Of course, Scarecrow would always have that. They are sculpted nicely, and it's funny to have a pair of action figure type crows. And he comes with this lamppost. It has a sculpted broken light line in it. This side has, I thought that was a spider at first. This one makes it look like it's cracked. There's little sculpted marks all over the base, right? And this is the best part. Wanted Spider-Man dead or alive. Because everyone puts that on lampposts in the Marvel universe. So you're probably thinking, well, what exactly does this do? Now, I did save this. I tried out the pitchfork before I did that, but this I have not tried. So basically, let's get this to go. So basically what you would do is the crows have little pegs on their feet. You stand them on this sides of the lamppost, and then the lamppost, you push them down as like a spring, and then you're supposed to push this button. Now I haven't done it. Let's check this out. And the crows get launched off the posts. See, I'll show you. It's like you push them down, and you know, of course, you'd stand them on there again. Some of the coolest accessories I've ever seen come with just one figure. It's a lamppost. He's got a missile-firing pitchfork. The sculpt is awesome. This is a great Spider-Man figure. So that is going to do it for my Retro Shiz look back at the 1998 Toybiz Spider-Man the Animated Series, the Spider and the Scarecrow box set. That was a Toys R Us exclusive. So for me, having grown up with these, collected these, and to get something brand new, something I've never owned, I'm glad that I got to open it and share it with all of you, especially since it's because of all of you that I even have this box set in the first place. Thank you so much, and I really do love showing these off. I love talking all these old toys with you guys and really showing these old things off properly. You got basically a brand new Spider-Man. You have a brand new SpiderSense Spider-Man. The Chameleon is reused. He's got some gold. You got a gothic emo Peter Parker with a black jacket. The Scarecrow definitely takes the cake, as does his lamppost with his 2 pet killer crows. You can't go wrong with this box set. It's got everything and anything you want all in one go. It's totally random, and it's totally Toybiz. What did you guys think of this box set? I want to know your guys' thoughts. Comment below. Let me know. Let's talk all things Spider and the Scarecrow. Do you have this set? Do you need it now? I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, if you get this set, be very careful with this little mechanism right there. My God, was that stressful. I was like, are you kidding me? I haven't got a new set, and I all of a sudden break it. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.